This is Jeremy Renz with Construction Specialties in North Florida. Today I'm going to go over a few do's and don'ts with your new fireplace install and just a basic extended service of some of the things that the user manual does not tell you of common calls that we get of why customers cannot start the fireplace. So here's a basic component setup of our fireplace. This is our 36-inch B-vent unit, and Adam's just going to walk through the control panel of what each item is.
All right, start with gas shut off, off, on. Pilot knob, off, pilot, on. The little white tick mark over here tells you what position you're in. To light it, first, wiring. If your wires are not set up like that, it's wrong. These two go to your wall switch. This one goes back up into a safety switch up here we'll get into later. This goes to the thermal pile, which tells the valve to stay open. So if they're not like that, it's wrong. Anyway, turn it to pilot, push it in, hit the clicker, pilot lights. Yay, pilot. You have to continue holding the knob for 30 seconds, build up enough heat to stay open on its own. And once that happens, you can let go. Slightly depress and turn counterclockwise to on. Now your wall switch works. It does have to build up a certain amount of heat before the switch will work. It's minimal time.
So the number one issue we have from a lot of the service calls that we get is when the pilot and the burner are intermittent coming on and off. This means that the gas contractor did not bleed the line after he installed the fireplace burner. So if that is your symptoms of the issue that you're having with the fireplace, you need to get your gas contractor back out here to bleed the line and light the pilot at that point to make sure that we are getting full gas line with no air in the lines, and it will ensure that your flame is fully healthy and that your pilot is lighting the way it should. Another thing that you want to notice here is that in the fireplace manual, you want to make sure that the log setup is exactly the same.
So the logs have to be in this position because it's a vented log set, which means it does produce fair amounts of carbon monoxide. But with the placement like this, the flames pretty much miss the logs and don't produce hardly anything. However, if they're moved in this position, they impinge the flames, which causes soot, which is incomplete combustion, which produces carbon monoxide, and that's not good. So if anybody ever tells you, oh, they can go in there however they want, it's not true. This vermiculite and wool kind of push the flames to go up towards the center. So if your logs are like this, they're going directly in that flame, which is going to make them black and, like I said, produce carbon monoxide. So in that position, the flames kind of dance around it, which is why it is important that they never leave that position.
So our next issue is to make sure that the damper switch is in the proper place. For the flame to be healthy and operating as it should, the damper has to be completely open. So Adam's going to show here what happens when we have the damper switch in the incorrect position.
All right, the correct position, clearly labeled, open, closed. Vent damper must be locked in full position. So you move it even slightly. That's closed. That's not even, that's open but not open. Fireplace shuts off. And there's a little contact strip up in here that has to be in the fully locked position. Now, when the fireplace shuts off like this, you have to wait 5 minutes before it will even start again. So don't try right away, it won't work.
Please note that when your fireplace does shut off, whether it being from a damper issue of it not being in the correct position or you shutting it off, the Fireplace does have a safety feature on it that the pilot switch and the igniter switch will actually lock you out for 5 minutes. So whenever you turn it and it's kind of locked on the hold position, it means that you've been locked out as a safety mechanism. So just give it 5 minutes and then you should be able to be free to move it again in the desired position on, off, or pilot start. The switch that I was referring to, the pilot knob, for the safety mechanism when it shuts off, every time you shut off the Fireplace or it shuts off, this will actually not be able to move. It is right now because it's not in the safety mode, but when it locks, you actually won't be able to move this switch at all. It'll be completely locked. Another reason that your Fireplace may not be working, if you notice these components via your remote, this is your control module that you'll find inside the box of your Fireplace. You'll notice here that it has a little arrow, and you just want to check the batteries in it to make sure that they are functioning, and if you want to make sure that they're not dead. Now these installs, they do happen in the framing stage of construction, so sometimes they do sit for an extended period of time. It is possible that the batteries are dead. So again, this is your control module, the brain receiver of your remote. It has 4 AA batteries, and then also the remote here that actually turns on your Fireplace has a little arrow here, pull out. You want to make sure that the little battery is inserted and make sure that it's not dead. And reinsert and it should turn right on. If it does not do that, then you need to switch the battery. You'll notice that inside your new unit, you'll have this little piece of plastic that will, it's chained to the frame of the Fireplace, and you actually have to pull it out from the bottom, and it gives you kind of just some basic maintenance and of how to operate, how to light it, and just some basic safety, some safety requirements here, and telling you how to turn it on and off and how to safely operate your unit. Gives you a little diagram here to tell you what each thing is and what each component does. Also, for any kind of warranty item, anything that needs to be replaced in the future, you will need to know the information off the tag that's in the bottom. At the very top here, you'll have the, you can't really see it, but the top right underneath this gas valve, you can kind of just pull this back, pull it up and read it. At the very top, you'll have the serial number and the model number, and you'll need that for any kind of Fireplace service or warranty part in the future.
All right, last but not least, putting it back together. Take your heat shields, which also have the setup of wiring and information on your thermal piles and couples and stuff. Basically, all that does is protect the components down there from any heat. Put it at an angle, slide down on the sides, line up your middle, there you go.